Do you know? Because how do you know? I've been testing my audio with my new screen recording thingamajigger. See if Pandora gets this information I'm trying to get them through my Morse code. We'll see. I'd have to say, do you record so far? Very impressed. What was I doing? Oh. So this one is where they all are. Right, these. And these are those. These are these. Thank you, Greg and Olivia. See if this. See how well this works. Give it a test drive. Saifedean, if you think people like me matter to Bitcoin, you don't understand Bitcoin and shouldn't be holding it in the first place. But then, if you understand son of a bitch, you serious? Saifedean, where'd you go? I hate it when it does that. Seriously? I was actually reading that? Frickin' Ari Paul, I don't want to see what you have to say. Son of a bitch. I'm interested in what they have to say, but machine learning. Crap. What is this? Maybe I might have to find it the old-fashioned way. I don't even know how to spell the guy's name. That's awkward. How do I do this? Oh, they're my ladies. Hello, ladies. Saifedean. How the heck do you spell it? Saifedean. Oh, this is not going over well. Alright, I need to guess on the desktop so I can get it right. What if I put Saifedean Bitcoin? Let's see what we come up with. Nothing. How about maybe he'd come up if I looked under Bitcoin for top. I am too good at this game. Too good. S-A-I. There's freaking Saifedean. Alright, where are you at? Finished. should be there soon. Oh, no. So 10 hours? No, 11 hours ago. Crap, this guy is busy. There you go. I found it. Now, as I was saying, if you think people like me matter to Bitcoin, you don't understand Bitcoin and shouldn't be holding it in the first place. But then, if you understood Bitcoin, you wouldn't be wasting your life and reputation working for the consensus scam factory. Who is he referring to? Bernard Mueller, product engineer and security researcher at Consensus Diligence, creator of Myrtle and Myrtle X. And he's in Thailand. So his pinned tweet is, why am I... Okay, so we are recording. His pinned tweet is about Ethereum. He's got a lot of, obviously, Crypto Bobby retweet. Okay, about AirSwap. Physical cash will never work because if you lose it, it's gone forever. Did I say physical? That's a funny one. I like that one. So, Dudas. I don't know why I have such an issue with this guy. I literally, at one point in my life, I wanted to know everything about him. And now, I don't know how I feel when he pops up. The disconnect between the incredible progress being made to build the crypto ecosystem and the perception of failure in mainstream financial and tech circles is staggering. See, I agree with him on this one. I don't get it. But that's like the only time he and I agree. So, go figure. Anytime, that's Bernard Mueller. Thank you, Bernard. Welcome to Basehead. Maybe I shouldn't be listening to this kind of music at 3 o'clock in the morning. I need to go to bed, too. I used to hold Bitcoin until mid-2017. With the likes of Saifedean Amos, Jimmy Song, and Pierre Ricard, who at one point, never mind, different story, emerging as thought leaders, I now find it uninvestable. I'm not the only one. Maximalism eats itself. That's actually kind of interesting. How dare you? Pierre has been a Bitcoin thought leader. Well, he doesn't know everything. Thank you, Kyle. I like to think that my thought leading started February 13th, but I have a big ego. No, I really regret being late to Bitcoin. Just imagine how many more Ether Huffer rage quits I could have triggered if I started early. Dad, why don't we have any Bitcoin? Some guys were mean to me on Twitter 10 years ago, so I sold it all. Yeah, I kind of... I can see where you're coming from, but my suggestion would be to cut the, what's the word? I can see where you're coming from, but my suggestion would be to cut the junk food. Let me see how that sounds. I can see where you're coming from, but my suggestion would be to cut the junk food out of your diet. I don't think that's what I want to say. I hope this isn't too loud, but it does help me write, so I apologize. I can see where you're coming from, but I would suggest you cut the junk food out of your diet. That seems a little combative, let's put it that way. I can see where you're coming from, but I would suggest you cut out of your diet, comma, that which doesn't, this sounds a little bit better, that which doesn't nourish you. I'll let them decide about that. I can see where you're coming from, but I would suggest you cut them out of your diet. No, I can see where you're coming from, but I would suggest you cut out of your diet that which doesn't nourish you. Their junk food contributions are relative. Their junk food contributions are relative. If you want to read their nutritional, their junk food contributions are relative, are only relative if you want to take the time to read their nutritional facts. I think that's a more accurate message I'm trying to send. I can see where you're coming from. But I would suggest you cut out of your diet that which doesn't nourish you directly. Gotta get through this. Junk food contributions are only... What am I trying to say? Junk food contributions are only later... Junk food contributions are only later regretted if you took if you took the time to read their nutritional facts. Brady, what does that mean? Yikes, I might be getting too deep for myself here. I can see where you're coming from, but I would suggest you cut out of your diet that which doesn't nourish you. Meaning, do you, man. Don't listen to what doesn't nourish you. Junk food contributions are only later regretted if you took the time to read their nutritional facts. So I want to say that I agree with his initial thing, which is these dudes turned him off, but I don't want to agree with his action. So junk food contributions are only later. I think I need to get rid of that junk food part. Oh, gauging. There we go. Gauging fitness workouts while consuming. This might make less sense. Gauging fitness workouts while consuming junk food shouldn't turn you off to working out after you don't see results. Maybe this makes sense. So cut the shit that doesn't nourish you. Gauging fitness. Gauging your overall fitness while consuming junk food shouldn't turn you off to working out after you don't see results. That's more accurate, I think. Okay, day up for a weekend. Ooh, a nice musical. This is one of my jams. Gauging your overall fitness. Whew. That was a big music drop. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Ooh. So, this makes sense. Measuring your fitness goals while consuming... Basically, measuring your fitness goals while consuming junk food shouldn't turn you off to working out if after a few months you don't see results. Hold the token, but not They hold your attention, comma, not your coins. Crap, how do I make this fit? They only hold your attention, not your coins. They only hold your attention, not your keys. Even better. That I can get rid of. I can see where you're coming from, but I would suggest makes sense, but I would suggest, how about that? Makes sense. Makes sense, but I would suggest you cut out of your diet that which doesn't nourish you. Measuring your fitness goals while consuming junk food shouldn't turn you off to working out if after a few months you don't see results. They only hold your attention, not your private keys. They can hold your attention, not your private keys. Crap, so I gotta find one spot in here. I think I can get rid of that one. I already did. I'll get rid of that period. There. I think that's good. They can hold your attention, never your keys. They hold your attention, not your private keys. I guess. Then I got this guy, fucking Saifedean von Buffalot. Woo! And then it happened. This is my personal Twitter account, not Bitcoin's public relations account. I use it to learn and teach about Bitcoin, but I don't care if you buy Bitcoin any more than I care if you buy knives. I'll post whatever I want, and you are free to follow, unfollow, mute, or block. Bitcoin is utterly indifferent. I agree with you, Saifedean, but then why are you so close-minded to ideas that don't align with your own? This I do not know. Anyway. Well, that's that tweet, so hopefully there'll be no more. I think as I have work tomorrow, I must go to sleep. Good night.